morning, everybody. Welcome back to Conversation with Cattle. This is Mike and Kelsey at Sweet Briar Farm, and today we're going to talk about basically how we feel about raising animals to butcher and sell for meat. So I've been a deer hunter since as long as I can remember. I shot my first deer at 12 years old, and that animal was by far the hardest animal to eat that I've harvested in my life. Especially taking that animal at such a young age, it really enlightened me of where your food comes from. And I use that term harvest because I don't like the slaughter or things like that, because we've raised this animal, we grew this animal, he's ready to go to the butcher, and we're harvesting him and we're selling him for food to other families. So what's your perspective on raising the animals for meat?
Well, I guess we're going back to childhood. Mine was very different from yours. I did not grow up in a hunting family. All our meat came from the grocery store and looked like food by the time it got to our home. So I had mixed feelings about hunting, to be honest, before I started dating Mike. But
well, that's a good point you bring up, that meat doesn't come from the grocery store. It doesn't come in a package. This is where your meat comes from. And I think ever since 2009 or so, we've tried to raise and harvest our own meat, and buy very little from the grocery store.
Yeah. So for me, it took a little coming around to. But I heard, we like to watch the Kilcher's Alaska, the Last Frontier, and Ivan Kilcher, I think, said something on there once, like, or maybe it was, I don't know, somebody on that show said, if you're going to eat meat, then that means that there's killing involved. So you can either do it yourself, or you can pay somebody else to do it for you. But either way, if you're going to eat meat, that means that something has to die for you to live. And I think that's very true. And I like that the meat that me and my family eats comes from animals that I know lived healthy lives outside. They were happy, and we got to be a part of taking care of them so that they can take care of us. So that's how I think about it.
Yeah, I look at it as a very fulfilling process. There is some sadness involved. We got this steer when, gosh, he was just a tiny little thing. The boys actually had him on a halter. And he's, we've had him for 2.5 years. He's had a happy life. We feel good that we've kept him healthy. We grew him to a good size for butcher, and we thank his life and we celebrate it. So I think of it more as a fulfilling process rather than a sad process. And we don't spend a lot of time with our steers. We kind of keep them, separate, not necessarily out of sight, out of mind, but we're not in there petting them and things like that with our jerseys or calves that we're trying to train for future milk production. So there's not the emotional attachment that I get from them, or like from the goats and things like that you have with you and the kids have with the goats.
Yeah, we do try to be deliberate with which animals we give a place in our heart to as pets and which ones we know have a different purpose.
And for our butcher steers anyway, the butcher we use is local. He comes to the farm, dispatches the animal. It's painless, it's quick. They do a really good job. Yeah. The animal isn't stressed. Yeah, it's fast and it's easy. We're very happy with the local butcher that we use. The other thing is, I think if more people had a close connection with their food, raising their own food, there would be less waste. I don't know the statistics, but billions of pounds of food each year are wasted in the United States and around the world. Having a closer connection to your food would lead to less waste overall.
Oh yeah. If you're getting started raising your own food animals for the first time, what we did with our first butcher pigs was we gave them all food names, which it helps our kids for sure be reminded that even though they were cute little pigs, they were food. And I thought that was a nice way to help remind them. And when we did butcher those first pigs, I was really impressed with our kids. They handled it really well. They were like, okay.
That actually brings up a point. I saw somebody criticize somebody else who has a YouTube channel about naming his animals, his food production animals. And the guy's comment was, the number one rule in livestock is not to give your animals a name if you're going to eat it. And I 100% disagree with that. I think everybody should have a name, especially if they live at your home and on your farm. If we say, hey, somebody in the backyard doesn't look so good, or whatever it is, we know who we're talking about. We know who we need to go look for. They don't necessarily know their names. And steers, I think Greta, she'll come when you call her.
Yeah.
Kelsey thinks her goats know their names, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Some of them do.
But we give them names, and like I said, we honor and celebrate them when we do harvest them. So everybody should have a name. All right, so those are some of our thoughts about raising animals for harvest and providing food for others and ourselves. It's a common question that people like us get, and everybody has their own perspective on it. I think people like us who raise their own animals feel the same way we do. So honor the animal and enjoy it when you harvest it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.